How many righteous people we have this afternoon? As believers, we are not righteous because we do righteous works. We are righteous to do righteous works. Righteousness is a gift from Jesus. And there is an opportunity where a righteous person can forfeit the righteousness by turning away from his righteousness. Watch this, what it says. If a righteous person turns away from his righteousness, our righteousness is Jesus Christ. So if a righteous person turns away from his righteousness, that's not something we should do, but it's something we are capable of doing. Here at Hungry Gen, we don't believe that once saved, always saved. Meaning, if you're saved, you do not have the opportunity to forfeit your salvation. We believe that our salvation is secure in Jesus Christ. We believe it's like being in the airplane. When you get into the plane, you know, the plane gets shut and you can exit from the seat that you are in. You can walk in the aisle and there is no fear of falling off the plane. But every single airplane has a door inside where if you are crazy, you can pull that door and get out. Now, if you are going to do that and I'm going to be in the plane, I will hold you back from doing that. Why? Because I care about you. If you're going to go to the door in the airplane and start messing with the door, most people will come and say, hey bro, no, get back into your seat. And so, but you can still do that. A Christian doesn't lose his salvation, but a Christian can forfeit his salvation by turning away from Jesus Christ. By opening that door and saying, bye-bye Jesus, I don't want to do anything with you. There's a lot of people that live with the fear of losing their salvation. Don't live with the fear of losing your salvation. Your salvation is secure. Salvation is not like a ring that you lose. Salvation is like a marriage that you lose. How many of you know you can lose this on accident? How many of you know you can lose this by being negligent? How many of you know none of you lose a marriage by being negligent? You don't just wake up one day like, oh my God, I lost my marriage. No, you don't lose your marriage like you lose your ring. To lose your marriage, you gotta cheat on your spouse. To lose your marriage, you gotta do more than forget to get the garbage out. To lose your marriage, you gotta do more than sleep in one day and forget to tell your wife I love you and forgot to bring flowers for the last 6 months. That takes a lot more, because to lose your marriage, there's a bond in that relationship. The relationship with Jesus is a deeper and stronger bond than a marriage. You're not gonna lose that easily. And what I love about this is the Bible says if a righteous man turns away from God, God says, I don't let them go yet. I will put a stumbling block. Meaning God says, I will not let them jump off the plane that easy. I love this about grace. I love this about God. Because see, most of us think even the story of the prodigal son, the lost sheep and the lost coin deals with the lost people. But may I remind you, the lost sheep, the lost coin and the lost prodigal son do not deal with the lost people. They deal with believers who turn away from the Lord. Because the son was a son. The coin belonged to a woman and the sheep belonged to a shepherd. And when the father got his son back, he didn't get a new son, he got the same one. When the woman got the coin back, she got the same coin. And when the shepherd got the sheep, it was the same sheep, it was not a different one. So that tells me when a believer turns away from their righteousness and begins to go and do iniquity, as Ezekiel said, God says, I put a stumbling block. Have you ever seen a police chase? When you are running away from, I'm not going to ask for anybody if anybody ever was involved in a police chase, but I'm very curious to find out if anybody has been in a police chase. I'm not going to ask for that. But anyway, have you anybody? Police chase is when you break the law and then there's road signs, you ignore them because they don't apply to you, they apply to everybody but you. And then you hear a siren and you ignore the siren, and then you keep going. After the siren, you begin to notice that there are people that are chasing you now, they're going after you. And then there comes this point, a lot of times there are speed bumps that you go through really fast, and the police uses these spikes stripe spikes where they would throw on the road so that they can puncture your tires to slow you down. And there's a little video behind me, if you can play that, where even there are people who are so stubborn that even if you put spikes in the road and you puncture their tires, they will still keep driving. No, not this one. That's yes, it's the one from Dropbox. Yeah, that was a little bit different one. I apologize. In the first service I talked about hell, and now yeah, please watch the first service message. It's a lot more sober than this one. It's on Dropbox. And so the police would put spikes that they would puncture your tires, and after your tires are punctured, and I watched these videos this week where people would still drive and car would come to a stop, the car cannot go anymore, the tires cannot go anymore, and the people would still run out of the car and run, and of course they will send dogs, and then these particular group of people that I watched on the YouTube clip is that they would come and would get arrested. That's really how backsliding looks like. I want to let you know a few things. One is that God will use road signs, and if we don't heed them, He will use speed bumps. What are speed bumps? It's the experiences of people close to you. When somebody, your friend, has a testimony and they share with you how they got saved, it gives you a speed bump. It shakes you up a little bit. You're like, oh my goodness, I'm doing exactly the same thing. I probably need to get saved. It shakes you up. But some of us, that's not enough. We need to have some spikes in our life. We need to have some stuff happen to our own selves. Our bottom has to fall off. We have to fall from the horse and bite the dust. We have to get hit a lot of times. And when our tires get punctured, when Peter preached, the hearts of people were cut, and the Bible says they were cut, meaning the conviction of God came in. But some of us, we are so stubborn that even if you puncture our heart is broken. Maybe it's a breakup, maybe it's some kind of a devastating situation, and God allows that because He is chasing after us. He wants us to come to a stop. He wants us to surrender. He wants us to be pulled back. God says, if you turn away from your righteousness and go do iniquity, He says, I will set a tripping block, a spike, a roadblock. Why? Because I want to capture you. And no, I don't want to arrest you to take you to prison. I want to bind you with my love to take you home. Come on, somebody. In Hosea 3 verse 1 it says, then the Lord said to me, go again, love a woman who is loved by a lover and is committing adultery. So relationship is broken. This woman, she didn't just go out and have fun with her friends. This woman did not just forget that she was married. She went and she was loved by a lover and is committing adultery. She broke her covenant. I've struggled a lot of times to understand fully what is God's response to a believer who walks away from Him. There's scriptures in the Bible everywhere where it talks about, severity of God's judgment. But I want you to hear today something where God's love is not only for the lost, it's also for a backslider. Look what He said to this man. He says, go again, love a woman who is loved by a lover and is committing adultery, just like the love of the Lord. For the children of Israel who look to other gods and love the raisin cakes of the pagans. God pursues with the passion of a lover the lifestyle of a felon. God pursues with an intensity of a police officer, somebody who's running from Him. God tells Hosea, your wife, who legally, scripturally, you have to stone her according to the Old Testament. According to the New Testament, you have a free pass to walk away, wash your hands from that relationship and says, she was a prostitute before I met her. She went back to her old life, and you know what? I'm just gonna go get inner healing, get me some therapy, sign up for prayer line, get delivered, give me a 6 to 12 months, and then I'm gonna go christiansingle.com, and then I'm just gonna go find me a new wife. But God says to Hosea in the Old Testament, He says, I want you not only to go find her, rebuke her and tell her what she did wrong. He says, I want you to go, and this is the challenging part, not just forgive her, not just accept her, not just bring her back and give her her room and her makeup table and her vanity table. He says, love her. I can tolerate her. I'm okay with not killing her. That's already mercy, God. I'm okay with not giving her divorce papers, God. That's huge. But you want me to love her while she's currently in an affair relationship. It's not that she broke up and came repenting. She's currently in that relationship, and God says, love her. Win her back. Why? Because that's exactly how my love is for my children who turn away from me. See, most of us think is that when people turn away from God, when Christians walk away from the Lord, college life, maybe abuse happened, perhaps something other happened in your life that caused you to a stumbling block, you tripped over, you walked away from the Lord, you stopped abiding in Him, and you dried up spiritually, you died. There's another stumbling block. See, the devil is not the only one that uses stumbling blocks to get you off of Christ. God uses stumbling blocks to get you out of the devil. God will put stumbling blocks, and God will pursue you with His love to get you back. He loves you so much. Today is your time to pull over, lift your hands and say, I surrender to your love and to your grace.